Welcome to That 80s Show, the official podcast of the Pretoria Retro Fair and all retro fairs in the future, we would like to assume.
Let's hope.
What are we talking about? Fantastic event happening in Pretoria in the next couple of days. Called the Pretoria Retro Fair. Tickets on retrofair.co.za. Spoke to the curator, Noel Opperman. Kindred spirits of Dori and I. Dori, have you had a look around the Facebooks and the social medias, getting excited?
So excited.
About all the shit we're going to buy?
So excited. I'm going to have to rob a bank to be able to buy the shit I want. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I was going to say, do we cash in crypto? They won't take crypto. They're retro. Do you think they'll take Bob T cards? Hey?
Maybe, hey?
Maybe
if we go up and go like this, like with our hands and make the tea with our hands, like in the Bob T ads. You know, I have a friend, you know our friend Dom, who's been on the show?
Yes.
He was in the Bob T ad.
Was I right? Because I think I said that he was auditioned for Die Swart Kat.
I think there was definitely something.
There's some connection.
Because he was in a show called River Horse Lake. He was the kid in River Horse Lake, and he was in the Bob T ad. And yeah, we used to tease him mercilessly.
That's fantastic. We in school had a kid who was in the Oros ad.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the kid I told you I punched in the face because he tried to bully me.
And we had a kid at school who was in the Bic ad, the clown one.
Oh, you joking? Was he the main kid who gave the clown?
He was the main kid.
My God.
Yeah, in the clown.
Is he okay as an adult now, or was it like he's so traumatized?
Look, I've lost touch with him, but
I think he's lost touch with reality, being that close to that creepy ass clown. Oh my God, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you can't remember, we've got to put that ad up, that 80 Show SA Facebook. You'll find everything on the show today. But that was a creepy ass clown playing with our Bics. Hashtag Epstein Island. Anyway, that's...
Leave our Bics alone.
Leave it alone. Okay. But anyway, serious stuff. Retro Fair. Tickets, retrofair.co.za. Get there. See us. They got a taco combi. Authentic VW combi making tacos.
I hope the prices of the food are going to be 80s prices, but
that's what I hope so.
They won't.
They will. You know what? They'll be good value.
Yes,
that's what I feel. Good value. I got to close up. Some people have been asking me. So a couple of weeks ago, I told you how I got contacted by the real Thomas Anders, definitely me, not fake.
Yes.
So we get a message on our Facebook page. As just to recap the story, when we Modern Talking were coming, we had a great interview with Thomas Anders about 18 months ago, posted the content. A lot of people seeing it, lots of new followers to the show. Thomas Anders got a lot of fans. But we got a lot of supposed Thomas Anders following us. Not Thomas Anders fan accounts, people pretending to be Thomas Anders.
Yes, this seems to be a thing.
Yeah, they do. It's weird. So somebody messages us and trying to say, hey, love what you guys are doing. I'm amazed to have fans like you. So I'm like, this is not Thomas Anders. Definitely pretending to be Thomas Anders. I'm going to have a bit of fun with this. You know, so I kind of like had a bit of a conversation because I was like, I want this guy to ask me for money. This is my ultimate aim here.
Yes, you're 419ing the 419er.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been fans? Oh, since the 80s when you saw me perform in Sun City. I told him my name was Eddie, another running joke. AI thinks this is called That Eddie Show. Yeah. Like that band, Eddie. What is the TV show with the kids? Kids cartoon show, Ed and Eddie?
Ed, I don't know.
Anyway, they thought this was called That Eddie Show, a bit of a thing. Then it gets a little bit heavy because he says, you remind me of a friend I lost to cancer 8 years ago. Well, like that's weird because we don't have profile pictures. Our pictures are our logo on our Facebook page. Okay, this is it took a strange turn. So I kept quiet for a while. And then the last I left it is apologies for my silence. I did not display to you. I meant to respond, but his English isn't great. And I said, I'm sorry to hear about your friend. How can I help? That's the last message we sent, and that's what we had on the show.
Has he replied?
So he responded, okay, what do you think you can help with? And I said, well, what do you need? And since then, nothing.
I think he's on to you.
He's on to me.
Yeah.
He's on to me. So can we call that closed?
I mean, let's see if he replies.
No,
this could be an open discussion, continuing running gag of the show.
Just leave it. So
let us know if he replies.
I will do, but listen, just know it is not Thomas Anders.
Yes.
Saw a great video of him the other day. He's in America, got nice sunglasses with the American flag on them.
Huh.
He just has fun.
Yes.
He just has a lot of fun in his life.
You sent me a picture of modern talking Funko Pops.
So fantastic, right? They're a guy who makes custom Funko Pops, so they're not authentic.
Right.
So like for gifts and birthdays and stuff, you can send him a photo of a person.
Okay.
And then he'll make Funko Pops for you.
I like that.
Yeah. Good gift. Good gift. We should make like Paulo and Dori Funko Pops.
We should.
You know, that Eddie show Funko Pops. That'd really work. I also want to like readdress and correct myself. So you won't have heard this if you listen to the show. Dori would have heard it because I edited it out because I questioned myself. I had watched the remake of Roadhouse, right?
Yes.
I had some things to say about it. A lot of them about Conor McGregor and his recreational drug use. But I said to you that, no, there's almost no connection between Roadhouse, the original, and the new one.
Yes,
right?
you did say that.
Kind of going, and then when I was, tidying up the show afterwards, I was like, oh, I don't know that for sure because I don't remember the first one that well. So let me just take it out. I don't want to look like, I'm very good at making myself look stupid. I got no problem with looking stupid, but there's a line. There's a line.
You don't want to mess up Swayze history.
No, you mess up the Swayze verse.
Yeah.
Can you imagine you do that? What will happen?
Swizzle the Swayze verse.
Shh. Mullets will disappear. You go in, you mess the Swayze verse, come back, people don't have mullets. Can I say something? Your kid's mullet.
Yes.
I mean, that's phenomenal. That's great parenting.
It's amazing how mullets have come back in style. I know I've said that many times on the show. I'm still amazed.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kid's got an amazing mullet.
Fantastic mullet. So me saying, no, there is like almost no connection between Roadhouse. Screen Rant comes to my rescue. 14 connections between. Okay. So I said it's Easter eggs. So I was like, okay, these are going to be little obscure things.
Mm-hmm. Don't give me too many spoilers because I actually want to watch both of them soon.
Okay.
So don't give me too many spoilers.
So the first one is...
Since I don't remember the original at all.
Same logo. I said, okay.
Oh, come on.
Okay, that's a small thing.
It's like Deathstalker.
Jake Gyllenhaal's character had tattoos that were a tribute to Patrick Swayze. You couldn't see the tattoos, but there are tattoos that are tribute.
Okay.
The main characters
Hang on, were these his real tattoos? Or did they make fake tattoos for the movie that you couldn't see?
So
that makes no sense.
Patrick Swayze's character had no tattoos. Tattoos weren't that big in the 80s.
Yeah.
Tattoos were for scoundrels or people who had been in the army or die tronk. So tattoos weren't that big. But he had tattoos that honor Patrick Swayze. He didn't dive into the details of how his tattoos connected to the original film to maintain an air of intrigue, which actually means bullshit. They don't. Yeah. They don't. Okay?
Whatever.
So we cannot count that one. So me thinking that there is no connection between the two movies, the characters had the same last name.
I mean, easy to miss. Easy to miss.
So Patrick Swayze's character was James Dalton, and then Jake Gyllenhaal's character was Elwood Dalton.
Are they supposed to be related in the movie?
No, they're not related. They just have the same name. Okay. So,
all right.
Okay, that's quite a big connection. There is the Roadhouse in the original Roadhouse was called the Double Deuce, but the Roadhouse in the new one isn't called Double Deuce. It's called Roadhouse, but it's next to a restaurant called the Double Deuce. So a bit of an Easter egg. There is a fighting thing. If I tell you this, it ruins the ending. But there is a fighting thing that is exactly the same thing in both movies.
I'll look out for it.
Both characters are like nice guys who, if you upset them, they get very violent, which is kind of neither here or there.
Yeah.
Similar songs played in bars.
I mean, come on.
Because that's what made me doubt it, because I was like, I think the music would have been the same. So there is a connection between the song. They even quote each other. Jake Gyllenhaal's character even says things that Patrick Swayze's character did. And the love interests, they both give their love interest the nickname Doc in both of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then there are a lot of connections. there are a lot of connections between the two movies.
Yeah, I'm determined to watch both at some point and talk about it.
I was so intrigued to go back and watch the first one because as reading these, I was like, shit, the first one's so good, actually, based on this. So there are connections. Well done, Terry. Do you remember the song? I mean, because we are nominated as a music podcast, got to talk about some music sometimes. Do you remember the song Paradise Road by Joy?
Of course.
I mean, everyone does. It's like an unofficial South African anthem.
Yes.
Kind of like one of the stalwarts. Kind of like one of the, I wouldn't say like an apartheid protest song, but definitely a song that is linked to apartheid, right? So I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because the BBC tells me such. Because you had a lot of protest apartheid songs in the 80s, but they were very much protest, where Paradise Road was almost like prophesizing the end of apartheid where there's hope.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
So there's a band called Joy. They weren't a band before. They were 3 separate singers that were put together to produce the song. And the producer that put them together, Patrick van Black.
Yes.
Yes. I didn't know that he was also in Rabbit.
Yes.
The iconic 80s band. Rabbit did well. We don't talk enough about Rabbit.
Rabbit's more 70s, that's why.
Probably.
But, yes, Rabbit put South Africa on the map musically.
What's the main singer? He's doing all the things in LA. He scores movies in LA.
Trevor Rabin.
He was the lead singer of Rabbit.
Yes.
Charlie. Big song, Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never heard of Rabbit, do yourself a favor, check out Rabbit, Charlie specifically, and then I'll send you down a rabbit hole and you'll find it.
But Patrick van Black became like a serious producer. Like produced amazing things.
And this was the start of it. So he then takes the song out, he produces a song, and he wants to make it a big hit. Of course, it doesn't get played in South Africa initially. When he took it internationally, and he played it to international DJs, they go, love the song, it's amazing. So one of the big criticisms he had is they said, you don't produce African music that way, because he had strings, orchestral, and they said, no, African music doesn't get. So they're like, no, don't accept it, because he wanted this big, iconic song. And they said, no, we don't do that. So that was kind of like the first pushback he gets here. I'm really summarizing this article, put the whole thing on the that 80 Show SA Facebook page. He takes it overseas and people are like, I love the song. What language are they singing in?
Really?
Which made him realize, wow, the South African voice and the tonality doesn't translate to a European ear. And I got to tell you, right, it never occurred to me. So what got me thinking about this is I was driving last weekend and I hear the song on the radio for the first time in ages. I'm like, oh my God. And it got me, and it must have been an anniversary or something, because kind of as I started looking, this BBC article pops up. So there must be some sort of anniversary why they played it. I think it could have been one of the last surviving members could have passed away. It could have been an anniversary or something like that why they played it. And when you listen, do yourself a favor, go listen to it again, and you're actually going, geez, to a European ear, it actually doesn't sound English.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to do that.
It's quite odd. Once you put that in your mind, you go, it's like we can hear every word for word. It's like, wow, it actually doesn't sound English.
Well, do you remember quite a few years ago, we had Neil Johnson on the show, our friend Neil Johnson on the show, and we were talking to him about South African songs. He wanted to do Paradise Road by Joy. That was in the pipeline. We then kind of, I don't know, the feature just died.
Yes.
I think COVID came in and everything changed and we just didn't do the feature anymore.
Yeah.
But that was on his list of songs to do. So we would have maybe known all this a few years ago.
Well, I
if
feel,
we had done that.
You know what, when putting this together, it's so weird that you say that, because I was thinking about actually us redoing that, because it was a great feature that we did.
Yeah.
And Neil is like a cheese. I mean, Johnsonpedia of like South
African music, absolutely.
So on Paradise Road, eventually Van Black takes it to David Gresham, who now monstrous in the music industry, but he was hosted a radio show then, and he was like, I'm going to play it. He was like, let's put this on. We're going to play the song. And he played it relentlessly. David Gresham's show was big.
Sure, I remember that.
No.
Yeah.
It was big, became a huge hit, replaced the song. It hit the charts in 1 August 1980, so that's probably why it was being played on this. If I think about it, could have been the 1st of August when it was played. It replaced a song called Marty Webb's Take That Look Off Your Face.
I know that song.
Is it South African?
I don't know.
The video looked South African, and if I look at Marty, I'm probably going, was it Marty?
I don't know. I mean, I just know the song. I don't know anything about it or the singer.
Joy were the first and only Black South African act to hit the top spot on the Springbok Radio charts.
Wow.
Now, Springbok Radio was the radio station. It was kind of like the hottest station, played all the
records.
music.
Remember the records
were
with the babes?
Could be some at the Retro Fair.
Oh, that would be so cool.
Hey, could be some.
My friend Richard, who listens to this show, has some in his collection.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the vinyl record supplier is like, they are, I've been told, listen to the interview, serious people, and they could have some Springbok records in there. They could have. That's worth going.
Maybe go through my records before this fair. I think I should.
So hits the top of the spring, and you can imagine we're in the height of apartheid, early 80s, and you have a Black South African female band.
But people didn't even know they were South African. Well, South Africans didn't know they were South African.
That was one of the things. People didn't realize. And because kind of like, okay, if you're a Black American, African American, it's fine. No, we can't have that. So they hit number one. And kind of like, became the unofficial song of ending apartheid. Joy, Paradise Road, beautiful song.
Let me ask you something. When you hear 80 songs on the radio while you're driving, do you sing along to them and know every single lyric like I do?
Because it's normally the well-known ones.
Yes.
In our own collections, we've got like weird stuff that pop up. But so it's normally the well-known songs. And I know all the words. And then I go, I actually want to, it reminds me of another song of theirs, and then I put on my own playlist.
No, because I was driving to the studio this morning and Laura Branigan, Self-Control, came on the radio. I was listening to the radio and I knew every single word. And like mostly I know pretty much every word. I can't tell you what I did last week, but I know words to all my, not even only my favorites, even songs that I didn't love that much in the 80s, which now sound freaking amazing by comparison to anything else.
True, right?
Yeah. It's just, the brain is a weird thing.
There's got to be a part in the brain that like absorbs 80s lyrics.
We should talk to our friend Timothy Maurice about that.
That's what I'm saying. We should do
that.
This show has got so many potential because we know so many people, but you and I are lazy.
I'll arrange it.
I mean, when it comes to putting
maybe I'll have a chat with him and record it, and then we can I'll bring it on the show at some point.
Stuff. Yeah, maybe
I'll
do that. I mean, because really, we could offer the listeners so much stuff,
so much actual real content, like not nonsense.
You and I listen to a lot of podcasts, and we could we could do like an 80s version of that podcast. Like really, we could, because we know people. We're very bright. But instead, we'd rather just do this and kind of go, well, we're kind of going to talk about these things. Hey. Speaking of which,
is this another Dolph Lundgren story?
No, not boobs yet. Very early on in the show, I want to get into, every week on That 80s Show, we do recommendations, multimedia recommendations.
Yes.
Last week, Poltergeist and Death Stalker 2. Have you watched it?
No.
No. I can't imagine why a whole week has passed. But this week you got a podcast to recommend. You're listening to a podcast. So let's hear about your 80s related podcast.
This podcast is all about 80s things.
Right.
It is a podcast called Criminal. Really good. I've listened to every single episode since it started. It's one of my absolute unmissable shows. And what it is they talk about they find really, really interesting stories that are crime adjacent.
It's called
it's called Criminal.
Criminal.
Now, sometimes it's an actual just straightforward crime story, but often they have a really interesting, weird angle on a crime story.
Okay.
And this is one of those episodes. It is called Los Hippopotamus.
Yes. I love it so much. Yes.
Do you know what this is going to be about?
Can I take a guess?
Take a guess.
Pablo Escobar, he imported hippopotamus to live on his ranch.
Yeah, well, he had like a zoo. He had like his own zoo.
Because hippopotami are not native to Colombia, and now they're hippopotamuses.
Yes, so let me read the description of this episode, which is called, again, Los Hippopotamus. In the 1980s, Pablo Escobar smuggled 4 hippopotamuses into Colombia for a zoo on his ranch. Today, there are over 160 hippos in the country. Quote, this is a quote now.
160 hippos, right.
Because they just bred out of control. So this is the quote. It's like hippo paradise here. They have water and food all year long. They have no predators. They can do whatever they want. That is the description of the episode.
Sounds like Pablo Escobar.
So I remember reading an article a couple of years ago about how the hippopotamuses in Pablo Escobar's zoo, which does still exist, are breeding out of control and they're going to have to cull them.
Yes.
That is not what ended up happening.
Okay.
Because they killed one and the locals got very, very, very upset. Because the hippopotamuses became like almost like they belonged to the people in that area. So Pablo Escobar's long gone.
And listen, I think, the thing about Pablo Escobar is that he is, I think for a certain generation, he was kind of like a real anti-hero.
Yeah.
Until he started becoming a terrorist and killing people.
Well, this is the thing, is that in Colombia, he's either extremely well loved or extremely hated.
Yeah.
So the woman who they speak to in this episode, it's the most fascinating, wonderful personal story, which I am going to give quite a bit of a detail about. So cool. It might ruin a bit, but it's worth listening to the episode anyway. So they speak to this woman who starts talking about how when she was a little girl, her dad would always take her to see the animals at Pablo Escobar's zoo. Yeah. This was one of their favorite things to do together. She doesn't specifically remember the hippos. She mostly remembers the giraffes and the elephants and stuff like that. But she knew that there were hippos there. Then what happened when she was a bit older, her father actually got killed in a bomb blast, which was orchestrated by Pablo Escobar. There was like a whole gang thing going on. There were bombs. There was a lot of...
Well, it wasn't gangs. It was more Escobar kind of trying to overthrow the government. Pretty much because they were trying to send him off to America.
Yeah, and I mean, I watched almost all of Narcos season 1. I got bored, so I stopped. But I mean, if you've watched Narcos, you know exactly what I'm talking about with Pablo Escobar. There was something extremely likable about him, but he was also like a completely crazy, dangerous person.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of, what's the word? Like, I suppose, mixed feelings around him in Colombia. Yeah. But what happened was after he died, he was killed. The zoo was mostly looked after. They did actually export some of the animals from the zoo, but they kept the hippopotamuses, and the hippopotamuses just thrived and bred, and then there were too many. And then, like I said, the government came in and went, we have to cull. And what they did was they legalized a hunt. They organized a legal hunt for people to hunt the hippopotamuses.
Right.
What they were going to do with them, I don't know. But then one was killed, and it was one of the favorites of the locals, and there was an uproar, and they went, right, no more hunting. That's it. Only one was killed, which is like kind of miraculous. And they were like, okay, we've got to come up with another plan. And here's where the beautiful story comes full circle. That little girl who used to go to the zoo with her dad and then lost her dad through this man ended up becoming a veterinarian because she loved the animals so much. And she was on the team that is sterilizing the hippopotamuses.
That is outrageous.
Isn't it the most beautiful, crazy story? So she ended up being, and the thing is, hippopotamuses are not easy to sterilize. It's not a simple process. Yeah. You've got to first of all
mean buggers.
Well, you've got to first of all get to them and like tranquilize them, and then it's just not simple apparently. So she is one of the people on the team doing this, and she said it has, she did, like she even says, like it brought the whole thing full circle, where that's where she started. She started going to the zoo with her dad, and now she's ended up doing this to basically save the hippopotamuses from having to be culled. So they are trying to sterilize as many as possible. It is an expensive process, but they're doing it. And that was what the podcast was about. And it's beautiful. And in the podcast, they also speak to other people, and they talk about Escobar a little bit, and they talk about how there's these guys who do tours for tourists.
Narco-tourism.
Yeah, basically. So they do these tours, and you can go and see the zoo, like what's left of it and that whole thing. They take you to the prison. Remember in Narcos, he's in that prison, but it's really not it's like luxury. It's like he's living like a mansion, basically.
So his whole thing was like, I agreed to go to jail. I'll hand my self over as long as I go to jail in my own prison with all the guards and the staff I handpick.
Yeah.
So basically it was a holiday camp.
It basically was. So that's actually around the time when I stopped watching it, actually, because I was just like, oh, it's enough. But yeah, so there's tours of this place.
Do you know that Escobar's brother runs those tours? Oh. So you'll go on a tour of, I think it's called, I don't know if the prison was called La Catedral or his house was.
The cathedral, yes.
But his brother takes you on the tours.
Huh. So yeah, so that's if you don't know too much about Pablo Escobar, there's quite a bit of background in the podcast. But like I say, this is essentially a story about the hippopotamuses that Pablo Escobar brought to Colombia because he could. Why do we have, or maybe it's just me, but I don't think so. There is so much Pablo Escobar content. So yeah, you found a podcast about Escobar related to Los Hippopotamus. Yes.
I'd love to hear the guy who plays Pablo Escobar in Narcos say that. I listened to a podcast the other day, a soccer podcast about narco football linked to Pablo Escobar. Do you want to recommend? Listen, this been done so many times, but let's just talk about it quickly.
Okay.
It's a documentary. Let's talk about the documentary, and all of it kind of spins off each other, called The Two Escobars, right?
Okay.
And part of a way to launder money, but also to kind of like show clout, the Narcos started buying up football teams, right? Because what's the best way to get people to love you? You own their soccer team and you put the best players in the team. So all the Colombian players at the time, who were like really good players, they wouldn't go play in Europe. They'd play in Colombia because they got paid so much money, right? And the standard of football was really good. And the Colombian national team was like kind of favorites, or like a bit of a dark horse to win the 1994 World Cup. And this is the height of Escobar. And so he buys a team, then his rivals buy a team, and kind of each region has a team, and they got all these players, and they're bribing refs in this scandal. And it's like, it's all, as narcos get involved, the kind of the credibility of everything goes. And so the national team then goes to the World Cup, and they do quite well, and they're one of the favorite. People think this team could legitimately win it. And a player called Andres Escobar, who never wanted to be involved in the Narcos football, like a really straight-laced dude. He had signed a big deal to now move to Italy to play for AC Milan. And they're going like, okay, he wanted nothing to do with the Narcos football stuff.
Was he related to Pablo?
No, not at all. Not at all. This is the serendipity of it all. And he scores an own goal. He scores an own goal to Colombia get knocked out.
Ooh.
And he gets warned. Now, they're putting lots of money. Obviously, they're betting on games and pride and, this is our big chance. We really want to. And the irony of it is this is the time where the US is really trying to get to extradite Escobar. They're really trying to get him into the US so they can lock him up because they know no one's going to touch him in Colombia. And they're playing the USA, and he scores an own goal against the USA. So for them, it's like so embarrassing now. They lost to the USA. And when he gets back to Colombia, they warn him. So he goes back before he's now going to move to Italy. Don't go out. If you go out, you're going to get killed. And because he's not into this world, he's like, don't care. I'm going to go out. And he gets killed. So you guys take him out.
Yeah.
And even though they not related to each other, yes, Pablo Escobar would entertain the team and would, request, sittings with them and that. Andres Escobar, the soccer player, wanted nothing to do with that world, and then that world ended up taking over his own world, and so that's a great document. But there's so many stories like that about Escobar.
It was drug money, but he did improve the lives of many people. He also destroyed the lives of many people, like this girl who tells the story. This woman, I mean, she lost her father because of him.
Los Hippopotamus. I imagine it said like that. Good podcast. I'll give that a listen. It's got something for everyone there.
No, it does. It really does.
I watched a movie that I'm going to recommend this week that when I watched it for the first time in the 80s movie, God, I was so disappointed. Didn't realize it was an 80s movie. Early 90s, like every suburban white kid, I get into gangster rap.
Yeah.
Because I can really relate and, it really speaks to me. We really felt what was going on. And one of the guys was Tupac. Everyone loved Tupac.
Yep.
Yeah. Still not dead. I don't believe he's dead. I think it was, if he is dead, did he kill them? Yeah, two conspiracies there. And his album was called To Live and Die in LA.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. Yeah, it's a movie. It's a Tupac movie. It's got to be about Tupac. You know, subsequently, obviously, Tupac at the same time was doing movies. He was with in Janet Jackson, right? And he was in a movie with Janet Jackson.
Yeah, I don't remember, but yes.
Poetic's a poem. She was called
Poetic Justice?
Poetic. She was called something. Anyway, he was in a movie,
okay.
right? So I'm like, oh, this must be another Tupac movie. No Tupac. Set in LA, no Tupac.
No, it is not.
But it had the old dude from CSI, except he's a young dude in this movie. So my movie this week that I want to regale to you is To Live and Die in LA.
I was going to do this movie at some point.
It's a good movie, Dori.
It is.
It's a good movie starring Willem Dafoe. Not a guy I go out of my way to watch.
But he's always pleasant.
He is always pleasant. William Peterson, of course, the main character. He's in CS. He's in the. There's so many CSIs. He's in the main dude in CSI Las Vegas.
Yeah, the original.
That's the main
original
one. Yeah,
the good one. The rest are not really worth watching.
It's weird. It's weird. So he's the main guy in this, and it's a typical cop movie. Typical set in LA. They're secret agents or secret service guys. Survive or kind of foil the Ronald Reagan assassination attempt. This is kind of where we pick it up. And then they sent to get some baddies in LA. And the baddie is Willem Dafoe. Being a real baddie in this, right?
From what I remember, yeah.
Yeah, I know. He's very menacing because that dude's just menacing as shit. Like, he's just got to really...
He's so great.
And what I love about it is that he has the classic partner who's too old for the shit and one day from retirement and gets killed. It follows the typical, uses LA as a character, which I really like. There was a thing they did a lot they did in Terminator as well. The LA, what they called the water, what's the word? The water lanes, you've seen the aqueducts, the waterways, but it's empty.
Yes, I know exactly.
And how
people
many
skate there?
How many movies were set in there? Car chases, Terminator was the big one.
So many.
They were constantly in there. And yet you never hear about people in LA actually ever going there or using it. Is it filled with water now?
I don't know.
I don't know what's
Do they
for.
still use them in movies? I haven't seen them in a while.
No, they had a lot of movies there. Some trivia from To Live and Die in LA. What do you remember of it?
I remember it being quite dark.
It was very dark.
Like lots of night scenes.
And very noir.
Yes.
Very noir. Kind
arty.
of like quite a throwback, kind of throwback to like, listen, it's based on a novel, which is set a couple of decades earlier. So I think it kind of got that feeling of it. Very good. And quite, at round about that time, 1985, you've got buddy cop movies come about. So you got 48 Hours, you got Lethal Weapon, you got Beverly Hills Cop. So the whole cop in LA type of thing, or the whole cop pastiche is
a word.
Is fun.
Yes.
But now suddenly it's a lot darker, quite hectic. Cops a bit corrupt.
I don't remember the plot line.
No.
I don't remember details like that. I was going to rewatch it.
No.
And then
go out, get some baddies. Great factoid.
I'm ready.
The score done by Wang Chung.
Huh.
Yeah, they scored the whole movie, which actually dates the movie a little bit because it is so synthy and Wang Chung-y. And this is kind of like Wang Chung, a bit of a one-hit wonder.
Three-hit wonder. Everybody Have Fun Tonight is obviously they put it in a bar scene. You watch the movie and you go, okay, this could kind of translate to, it's still relevant to today, but sometimes the music is so synthy and 80s, although so much has become synthy and 80s again. So did you enjoy it?
I still would have preferred it to be a Tupac movie, got to be honest.
I think I will rewatch it anyway at some point and then revisit.
You see this thing? I wonder if you've noticed, and I think listeners would have picked this up. I stumbled upon it because of the weirdness of the Wang Chung thing, right? Kind of popped up, and then I remembered, I've got this, kind of I wanted to be a Tupac movie, and like it's a good movie, like good cinema, good film.
not your usual recommendation on this show.
I gotta be honest, I feel so unenthusiastic about it. Did you feel that?
I feel like it's not your genre.
It was kind of like I just went through a tick box exercise. Oh, we got to recommend a movie as one.
It's okay. Next week you can get back to your B-grade Plex movies.
I should though, because I mean,
I think that's your niche.
I feel like
your place in the world.
Yeah, I wanted to step out. I don't want to be stereotyped. That guy.
Well, once in a while, I'm going to do a B-grade horror. So I think it's okay that once in a while you step out of it.
So is it fun? Because I felt pressure. Like, I'm always doing crap
no pressure
movies.
at all. But I like that you tried.
Okay, I do get an effort for that. But I feel like, give me boobs, give me B-grade, give me, like, I want to see the cameraman in the reflection of the mirror. Like, I want that. Mm-hmm. I want, like, Filipino James Bond. And I think I stepped out of my comfort zone.
It's okay. Once in a while, it's good to do that.
Okay, good. Listen, great movie. It's not the movie's fault. It's me. This is a me issue.
Yes.
I think I was more excited about the hippopotamus than about... So don't take my lack of buying as a reflection of the movie.
It's a worthy movie to watch.
Good movie. I'm surprised it took us this long to get to it, to be honest with you.
Well, that's why it has been on my list, because I'm like, we really need to do this movie at some point.
Yeah.
So I'm actually quite impressed you got to it before me.
Look,
well done.
It probably deserves like a second run, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you should get into it. And then
I will. When I have time, I'll rewatch it and I will weigh in.
Maybe what I'll do is say to you, why don't you watch it soon as your next movie, and then we can compare notes.
I will do it as soon as I can.
I feel like we're wrapping up a few loose ends in the show today. Remember we were speaking about the Lego sets?
Yes.
There's a competition Lego have, and they say like submit a movie set idea and it'll go into production and you win cash. They've announced the winners.
Ooh.
Yeah. 2 Lego ideas based on 80s IP are officially on the way. Now, there were lots.
Oh, so they haven't made them yet. They've just announced which ones they're going to make. Okay.
They're going to make. Do you remember some of the... Oh, there's so many. There were like...
There were such good ones.
There were so many Magnum ones, not a Magnum one.
Okay.
A lot of Goonies one, and unsurprisingly, a Goonies set has been announced. It's the boat from the Goonies. I know you haven't seen the Goonies.
I mean, I have. I just don't remember it.
Yeah. And you get all the little minifigures of all the characters.
Okay.
Knowing Lego, they'll only release 2 or 3 other they never put all the minifigures.
All right.
So that's the one.
That's not bad.
That they made out. Wow. Were there music ones? I think there was an Elton John one. I think I remember an Elton John piano. What else there was? I
remember the Jane Fonda workout studio. I remember that.
Yes, that was a good one. There were a lot of Gremlins ones.
Yes.
And so, of course...
We thought of a Lost Boys one, which wasn't there.
Wasn't there. A lot of Karate Kid ones.
Labyrinth.
Very niche.
There were a couple of Labyrinths.
There were Labyrinth ones. And like I said, a lot of Gremlins, and they have chosen a Gremlins one, but it's a build, like a giant... Like, these aren't the final sets that they're doing. These are just ideas.
Oh, it's a giant mogwai.
So, a giant gizmo.
That's all right.
Yeah, not bad. Apparently, it's going to be the Rambo one. So, when he has enough.
Okay.
And then he does a little Rambo thing, which I loved as a kid.
Yeah.
And so that's the one that's been commissioned. They seem to be going into production now in August. So that's wrapped up in a neat little package.
Well, we have to still see what they look like when they're released.
Oh,
so there's going to be one more installment of the story.
You know how expensive they're going to be?
They are going to be unaffordable. Yes. I mean, Lego's already unaffordable.
Guess who's getting a biopic made?
Not Richard Simmons.
So what have we seen? We know Richard Simmons. Richard Simmons will be made. We've the Milli Vanilli one, Rocket Man. It's never getting approved, the George Michael Wham one, the biopic. But one that is heading into production is Boy George biopic.
Ooh.
Yep. Being greenlit.
While he's still alive?
Yep. They're writing the screenplay. They're starting work. It's in development.
Who's going to play Boy George?
And he's going to handpick.
Yeah.
He's going to handpick who he wants to play Boy George. Who could play? Do you know who could play? It doesn't look like Boy George, but I'm quite liking the dude. The dude from Saltburn.
Oh, I know who you mean. I can't think of his name, but I know who you mean.
He's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
Doesn't look like Milli Vanilli, Boy George, but I mean...
No, but they'll
do whatever.
They'll do what they need to do.
And look, the guy who played Elton John in Rock... I mean, Elton John wishes, right?
Yeah.
Elton John cast him.
Ah,
So Boy George, like... I like it. What's that guy? The Irish guy? So hot right now. Saw too much of him in Saltburn. But that's again, a me problem.
That is.
So that's the boy George Biopic is in production. C.H.I.P.S, TV show C.H.I.P.S, they're back.
What, a remake?
Oh, remember the C.H.I.P.S remake? Did you ever watch it?
No.
It exists.
Oh, dear.
It has been wiped from my memory. Don't you remember the C.H.I.P.S remake?
No.
Oh, what a nightmare it was. Probably about 10 years ago, they did a C.H.I.P.S remake.
That didn't last very long, obviously.
No, it was a nightmare. It was basically, and I think it was a remake. It wasn't just a reimagining, because I think the guy was called, it was.
Poncharello?
He was called Poncharello. I think it was a legit C.H.I.P.S remake. It was also that guy, that Dax Shepard.
Oh, I love Dax Shepard.
Not after you watch C.H.I.P.S.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Not after you watch C.H.I.P.S. If you don't remember, C.H.I.P.S was California Highway Patrol. We loved it in the 80s. It was about Poncharello and what is his partner's name? Nameless blonde guy, because you got no flavor. And they were two highway cops who I really think would overstep the jurisdiction. I imagine highway patrol cops, you're just there speeding, fines, brake lights. They were busting drug rings. They were like...
He was Officer John Baker.
The
other guy.
Yeah, see, nameless.
Frank Poncharello and John Baker.
Yeah. But I think the amount of crimes... Everyone loved that. The C.H.I.P.S.
Why did I love this show?
Because it was ridiculous. I had a C.H.I.P.S helmet as a kid. I had one of those little black bikes, the little black push bikes.
Yes.
I was
that you used to get from the BP garage.
Yeah,
that one. Yeah.
I remember riding mine outside of the OK Bazaar, and my mother had to buy it, so I rode into the street with it. And then C.H.I.P.S, I was C.H.I.P.S. I probably thought I was Poncharello. I looked more like Baker, but. Then there was the remake. I don't know if you found any information.
I found the remake from 2017.
Oh, even more recent. When we should have known better.
But it's a movie.
Yes.
Movie. C.H.I.P. Happens is the line on the cover.
Oh, my God.
Starring Michael Pena as Ponch.
Yep.
Dax Shepard as John. Vincent D'Onofrio as Ray Kurtz, who I think is the boss. I do love him.
It was terrible. So
yeah, no, this looks.
It was kind of in the
6 out of 10 on IMDb.
It was kind of in the realm of, because there was the Starsky and Hutch, which was done so well. There was the 21 Jump Street, and they'll kind of go, okay, let's do that with C.H.I.P.S. Oh, they just terrible.
So why did you bring it up?
Because in New Zealand, they're running a campaign right now to launch a campaign designed to protect older individuals from growing threats of scams, right? So the bank in Australia, ANZ Bank, have taken, here's what they painstakingly did. They went through how many hours? They must have gone through all the seasons of C.H.I.P.S. And without redubbing or anything, cut special ads to alert people of being aware of banking scams based on original C.H.I.P.S footage. So for somebody, your job was to sit and watch hours and hours and hours of C.H.I.P.S and then cut it into a new 30-second ad.
You're very sad you were not this person, right?
Imagine being that guy. It's like, well, hold on a second. Like, I can tell you, I've worked in creative agencies before.
Yeah.
And you go, I just want to watch C.H.I.P.S for ages. How can I
wonder why they chose C.H.I.P.S of all the shows.
I know.
It seems so random. Do you have the finished product to show us?
There are a couple. There's a whole bunch of them. I'll put that Eddie Show essay on Facebook.
Cool.
Does it say why they chose C.H.I.P.S? Not in particular. So I think they, here comes marketing speak. Here comes marketing wang speak. Okay. We reviewed over 100 episodes across all 6 seasons, carefully piecing together moments that could effectively convey key messages of scam protection. Or as we like saying, bringing old school justice to today's scams. Worked with Warner Brothers to secure licensing, the specific footage, actors, and music, and gained permission from the California Highway Patrol. Why C.H.I.P.S?
The California Highway Patrol were probably like, what?
Well, because, listen, all this stuff was authentic. They had like on the bikes and everything.
I suppose.
You've reminded me of something. Have you been to America?
I have.
You've been to California?
I have. I've been to LA.
You shit yourself when you see I saw a California Highway Patrol bike and the car. You know, the California Highway, the black and white cop car.
Yes.
Didn't you shit yourself when you see it?
No, so what happened? Well, the context that I saw it in was my friend and I were on the highway and a girl had broken down.
Okay.
A young girl in an old Beetle had broken down on the highway. And they came and they like stopped all the cars on the highway so that they could move her to the side. So they were doing like the Lord's work, let's say. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't scary.
Oh, no,
it was just cool.
I had them behind me.
Oh, no, I didn't have that
and now you're driving a left-hand drive car. You're like driving a little bit slower because this is
I didn't drive, my friend drove.
And then they behind you are like, oh shit, these are real cops.
Yeah.
And they've got a reputation for shooting on sight.
Well, I'm very curious to see these ads.
They're pretty fun. I mean, it's all cuts. Like what I've seen is like it seems that they're taking authentic. Best part is, guess who they got to launch as part of the PR campaign? Erik Estrada.
Oh.
So they bought him to launch it.
Maybe that's why it was Chips, because someone in the creative agency is a huge Erik Estrada fan.
And they were like,
I want to meet Erik Estrada. How do I make this happen? Let's work backwards.
I mean, I've done it. I've cast people I want to meet.
Exactly.
Basically what you're saying, how can we figure out how to use, who would we do that for? So many people.
Well, I mean, we've already kind of done it with some of the people that we've met.
Yeah.
Thomas Anders,
Dolph. Okay, how do we get Dolph?
Well,
because Andrew Ridgely's never. He's been.
We're trying.
We're on a list. We're on a list.
I'm going to keep trying.
I got blocked. They blocked me.
Oh, well, what were you saying?
Well, Dori, it doesn't matter. I got things that obviously got me blocked. So Andrew is off
for now.
Dolph
sounds, I mean, I think he'd be fun.
Because Dolph would be fun. Like, you know, the option at the Hoff. We could easily get to the Hoff.
We really should do that.
And he would do it.
We should do that.
And like I said, we get the Hoff, we surprise him with Patricia Lewis. Bring her in the room.
Oh my God. I wouldn't even know how to get hold of her.
She would be harder.
She would be harder to
reluctant.
Get. Actually,
the Hoff would be like, I'm in.
Yeah.
When? I'm flying in. I'm coming.
Oh my God.
For those who don't get,
I think I would die.
The Patricia Lewis is that she was a South African singer in the 80s, and her and the Hoff had a fling.
Yeah, he came here. She.
Some may say that his fascination with Pamela Anderson for Baywatch is because of his unrequited love for Patricia Lewis. Some may say homage.
There's a slight resemblance. There is a very slight resemblance. Well, they're both blonde and busty.
Yeah. Some may say. Me. That's who the some is. And again, let's bookmark this nicely. So we are the official podcast of the Pretoria Retro Fair and all the retro fairs around the world going forward. And the organizer, he's released a board game.
Yes.
A drinking game. We love to play games on this 80s show. Remember we used to do name an 80s person you haven't thought of in a while?
Yes,
that was a good segment.
That was fun.
And we did
the lyrics quiz.
The lyrics. We did 2 80s truths and a lie.
Oh, those were fun.
But that was so ridiculous. I couldn't make up lies more ridiculous than the truth.
I know, exactly.
It just got ridiculous. So we love a little bit of a quiz. You can play along. And I'm going to go through some of the questions of this drinking game. When it is out, you will hear it here first. So let's jump into... if you listen to our interview, I'm going to skip this part out. I'm going to skip this because Noel told me about a show that I never saw, and I've become low-key fascinated with it, but I haven't quite got to it yet. This is very South African. What happened to Dawie Dieker-Botha? You remember him?
I do remember him.
Okay, you had a look of trauma.
But I don't know what happened to him.
What happened to Dawie Dieker-Botha and his wife Lisa in the last episode? Now, Dawie Dieker-Botha wasn't South African. It was in York. There must have been
I'm guessing some sort of European.
It was translated. I mean, what was Dawie Dieker-Botha called around the world?
It says country of origin South Africa.
No way.
Dawie Dieker-Botha. I think it actually might have been a local production.
I was 100% convinced that it must have been Europe. No. Isn't it Dutch?
Dawie Dieker-Botha is sung by Pieter Smith. I mean, maybe Dutch.
I think it's Dutch.
No, listen to this. 100% Afrikaans. Wie onthou vir Dawie Dieker-Botha. This is like a Facebook post. I think this was literally one of ours. You know where we will find out?
No, we're going to find out right now because it's on the card. Noel has done the work for us.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Noel would be able to tell us.
What happened to Davide Kubota and his wife Lisa in the last episode? They turned into trees. But she has...
I do remember seeing an image.
You look traumatic. They held hands and turned into trees after solving everyone's problems.
I remember seeing something about
Davide Kubota is an Afrikaans dubbed 80s kids series, was based on the Spanish series originally titled David El Gonormo.
Okay.
It was created by the same production house that gave us the franchise Dogtarian and the Three Muskehounds, otherwise known as Branigan. I remember Branigan. If you see Branigan, you'll know Branigan.
I think it sounds familiar.
So Davide Kubota, I knew, Spanish.
Ah, well done.
Yeah. David El Gonormo. Thank you, Noel. Font of knowledge. Here's the thing. We hear it all the time. Who shot JR? Who shot him?
I didn't watch Dallas. I was a Dynasty person.
Okay. But we all know the question. Do we know the answer?
No, I don't know who shot JR.
It was Kristen Shepherd, JR's wife. JR's wife's sister-in-law and his former mistress.
Was that her character name or the actress's name? Kristen.
The mystery was not resolved until the 4th episode of the 4th season, which aired 8 months later, with an estimated 350 million viewers worldwide in one of the most watched television broadcasts in history. I think Kristen Shepherd must have been the character because they don't mention. So that was JR's wife's sister-in-law.
I never watched Dallas.
JR's wife's sister-in-law.
Wow, that's complicated.
It's getting very Portuguese.
Do we know why?
Why did she shoot? Of jealousy?
I don't know.
Jealousy? Here's an easy one. Who had the hit? Everybody Wants to Rule the World?
Too easy. Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. Here is it's a 90s one. Another 90s one. What car is used as the vehicle in Back to the Future?
Oh, DeLorean.
The villain in Nightmare on Elm Street?
Freddy Krueger.
What is the name of the skyscraper that Die Hard is set in?
Nakatomi Plaza.
Story.
And do you know why I know that?
Why do you know that?
Because I'm currently watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, okay, right.
And
huge.
Jake, the main character in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, huge fan of Die Hard.
Yes. Dori, listen, this is a great game. I can't wait to play it. I want to play it for my friends.
I also want to play it.
But
I'll beat everyone, damn it.
I like to drink. And this game, I'll never drink.
I don't really drink. I will drink Coca-Cola.
But this is why it's a perfect game for you, because you'll win. Everyone will get drunk. You won't get anything wrong. That's not on the game. We are elite.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is like what you want to be in this game. What you want to be is, I really hope it's still relevant to say this because the internet moves so fast, is that us playing this game is... I'm trying to make a reference to an Australian breakdancer of how overqualified or underqualified we would be to playing this game. You get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying. I can't make the reference though.
This game to this...
Like, she wrote a thesis on breakdancing. We could write a thesis on the 80s.
And who would question us?
No one.
What a niche thing. And then we could go to the 80s World Championships and win.
She didn't win.
Well, she won her qualifier to go to the Olympics.
And then apparently, and I don't know because I haven't been following, apparently it was like a protest against the fact that breakdancing was in competition.
Sure. That's what you say when you shit the bed. I
understand that if that was the case. I understand it.
Who would have thought that somebody would make breakdancing more ridiculous than the movie in the 80s Breakin'? Who would have thought that there would be a more ridiculous breakdancing anything than the 1980s classic movie Breakin' and Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo? Those are real movies.
I know, I love them.
Those are real movies.
Love them.
Those are the sort of movies I would be very enthusiastic about, unlike my movie, To Live and Die in LA. I think I was disappointed because it wasn't Tupac. I think it all came flooding back to me as I started telling you.
Well, that's on you. That is your fault.
Look how excited I got talking about Electric Boogaloo.
There's no stopping us. No stopping.
Yeah, they're singing the song.
No one does it better. That's the song.
That is, I know.
Breakdance movie.
That is the song. That is the song. This has been That 80s Show, a production of 80s Enterprises, Inc. It's not a real thing.
Based in Nakatomi Plaza.
Everything you heard on the show can be found at 80 Show SA on Facebook. That's a real place. People go there. Dori, favorite thing you learnt about today's show? If I can recap some of the things we spoke about. We spoke about me getting Roadhouse completely wrong. We spoke about Paradise Road. We've uncovered Lego sets. And we wrapped up some loose ends around me being catfished by not Thomas Anders.
I don't know about this week's show, but my favorite thing that I learned last week was about choreography.
Corey Feldman's biography. And I think we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining me, Dori. Goodbye.
Bye.